Live from the Sycamore Lounge, it's time to muster the gusto with James and Sean.
All right, everybody, welcome to Muster the Gusto. It is good to be here indoors because it is raining outside and we don't want to damage our hair. Mostly because we don't want to damage our hair. Yeah.
Very well coiffed.
I'm happy to be in here, and we've got an exciting episode today. We're going to talk all about the 90s, my favorite decade, perhaps your favorite decade.
I like the 20s.
Okay, fair enough. 20s are coming up, actually.
That's right. We're going to have another 20s.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, we both grew up in the 90s. We got a special guest who I'm sure has a lot to say about the 90s.
Oh, yeah.
And, yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. But before we start that, a little business. Last week, we got into some trouble.
So my bad. I just got to take this. Hey, what's up, man? Yeah, no, we're still on. Yeah, Scream, right? We're going to see Scream tonight? Yeah, right? Oh, yeah, no. You got the tickets? Did you get the tickets for the other thing? Yeah, the other one. No. Not that one, asshole. I'm talking about the other fucking one, you piece of shit. Jesus Christ. How many times do I tell you? It's the Backstreet show, dude.
DJ's,
the Backstreet show.
DJ's waiting.
Hey, what's up?
We have to start the show.
Dude, you just interrupted my phone call, man. That's really rude.
It's time to start the show.
Alright, fine. Jesus. Okay. Can I just end my call real quick? Is that alright?
Fine.
Alright, I'll see you later, Dad. I love you. Dickhead.
Alright. Well, that being said, let's welcome our very special guest, DJ.
Hey! It's just a sheet, man. You don't have to.
It's really.
Voice.
Good to have you.
I'm honored.
Hey, welcome.
Good to have you.
Good to have you.
Hello, audience. Hi. This is where I sit.
DJ, everybody.
Our man.
Hello. I'm honored to be on the show.
It's great to have you
Gusto.
Welcome.
Thank you.
here.
Honored.
Well, this is a wonderful treat for us.
Oh yeah. This is great. It's a treat for me.
Just
Fantastic.
a couple of
Well,
90s boys out
Couple
here.
90s boys, man.
They're sick jackets.
Sick jackets. I mean, you guys have the beautiful blazers, but I wore my
You alright over there?
fashionable.
I'm just deciding. I feel weird wearing sunglasses indoors. I didn't mean to interrupt. I'm just testing it out.
You don't have to feel weird. It's the
Just
90s.
go into it,
You can
man.
wear whatever you want.
Exactly, dude. We're taking a trip back in time.
Try without your sunglasses, guys.
Try it
See how
without?
it feels.
Try it without.
Yeah.
It's kind of bright.
It's
Is it
bright.
too
It's a
bright?
little
But
bright.
I feel like it's too dim with the glasses. I mean, you guys do whatever you want to do, but
Too
kinda-
dim. What do you have to see exactly?
I got fucking notes.
Oh, you do have notes.
Jesus, because I actually prepare for this.
Oh, yeah, you do.
So
I don't do any of that shit.
Since we don't have notes, can we wear
Yeah, no,
something?
yeah. Listen, you can do whatever you want. I'm just for my own.
They just look really cool.
No, you look great.
Alright.
Good shades.
Cool.
Good shades, bro.
All right. So what I wanted to ask us, but first, before I ask us, I'm going to ask the viewers. What is your when I first say 90s, like what pops into your head? What was your most enjoyable like what do you think of when I say the word 90s, and what did you enjoy in the 90s? And I got a couple of viewer comments here, so I'm going to start with those. If that's okay with you guys.
Thank you guys very much. We appreciate it.
Awesome.
So we got our friend Dana says Doom 2 and The Simpsons.
Nice.
I'm a Doom 2. I played Doom 1. Is Doom 2 like a giant leap forward, or?
I don't really remember, honestly.
remember
It's
Doom
been a
2.
long time since I played. I remember playing the original. I don't remember 2 as much.
Yeah,
I
the
feel
original for the old computers.
Yeah, I
I
remember
remember the
the
first
classic.
computers ever of all time.
You know, the big one for me was Wolfenstein. Wolfenstein was a big one, too.
Wolfenstein,
That's
Duke
classic.
Nukem.
Duke Nukem.
Duke Nukem, he was raunchy.
Yeah, very raunchy.
He was kicking ass and chewing bubblegum.
And The Simpsons, I mean, all-time greatest, I think.
Classic.
So
Yeah,
we can
that's-
get into The Simpsons later, but
American
I feel
classic.
That was classic.
like, I mean, in their prime, I don't think anything was better.
No.
All right, our friend Janine says Dunkaroos and Nickelodeon programming and Pokemon. Dunkaroos is like
That is.
I feel like everyone is talking about Dunkaroos because
They're the best.
Frosting
So
and
good.
cookies.
What's better than that?
Yeah.
Remember when we did Big Boy Dunkaroos?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What did you
What
just
was-
got?
We
what
just
is a
got
Big
we
Boy?
just got a package of cookies, like full size cookies,
Oh, yeah.
and then just one of the little cans of frosting.
Frosting.
Yeah.
Yes, there you go.
Fantastic.
Yep.
So good. I actually did it again for the second Endgame for the Avengers.
Ah, man.
I was like, I'm doing Big Boy Dunkaroos and I'm watching Avengers.
I want
Like
some.
a child, like a man
Should
child.
we
Yes.
should we have had a can of frosting here for us to just pass around?
Just
That
pass
would've
around
been
the
great.
With
spoon.
spoons, yeah.
Yeah.
We should start doing
Get all sugared
that for
up.
guests.
That's a terrible idea. Anyway, okay. Victoria, our friend Victoria said, cameras in the courtroom. Couldn't stop watching the OJ and Dahmer trials in particular. Now, I feel like we were perhaps a little young to
Too
be
young.
watching those.
Yeah.
I remember seeing the white Bronco chase.
Yeah.
I was probably about 8 years old, but really not knowing exactly what was going on with it. And I think I was far too young to be watching murder trials on television.
I remember some of the trials, and I just remember being bored out of my fucking mind.
I didn't know what the hell
I
any
was
of that
like,
was
dude,
about.
Yeah, like what's going on, Jeffrey? Well,
I didn't know anything. when I
for
was
someone
there.
your age at the time should
Stupid.
not have been knowing what the details of Jeffrey Dahmer's.
I didn't know people went to court. I didn't know what court was when I was that age.
No, but I could see if we were like, let's say 10 years older or whatever at the time, like being riveted by that courtroom footage, because it was like, it just it put you in there with the situation. Which I don't know, was that done earlier? Earlier. I guess it was, but maybe not to this extent.
Yeah, I think not to that
No.
extent, really.
Yeah, it wasn't televised like that. I don't think.
So Justin, this is a guy I went to actually elementary school with. I don't think you guys know him, but he said boys have a penis, girls have a vagina.
Huh.
Is that
Does anyone know what that's from? I know
Is
what
that
I know what
from-
that's from. Yeah.
Yeah.
is that from?
Tell us.
Should I tell you?
Yeah.
Kindergarten Cop.
Yeah, that's what
Absolutely.
it is.
Sorry.
I was like kindergarten.
Freaking Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Right.
Motherfucker.
That's a big line, and it's not a tumor.
That's a
It's
classic.
not a tumor. That's another like big line. The line that I
It's a
always
good movie.
think is really funny is when, because you remember in the beginning, he wasn't supposed to be the teacher. It was his partner who was supposed to be the teacher, but she got sick.
She got sick.
So he's telling her at one point that he's
I
like,
don't want to do it.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly. But so he's like, you should. But the one that really gets me, the line he say, you should be the one reading books about bears to go shopping.
Yeah.
Because it's like, yeah, I'm sure we've read tons of books about bears to go shopping. Berenstain Bears, right? They went shopping all the time, didn't they?
Dude, I used to watch that movie like on repeat,
Yeah.
day in and day out. My sister loved it, so she would put it on. What a movie!
Oh, I love it. Do you know there's
thought-
some scenes in there? What's the name of the bad guy in that movie?
It was God, what was his name? It's on the tip of my tongue. I can't remember.
I can't remember. I know the actor's name too. He was in 3 O'Clock High. He's like a scary looking dude.
It was like Slick or something with an S.
There's a scene.
That's
Do you remember?
Slick,
It's a dream that Arnold's having. But he's in the school, and the guy's outside, just staring into
In the window,
and
it's
into
like
the
raining.
rain.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
that
he
was
like
creepy.
wakes up with a jolt. That's genuinely a
Yeah.
scary.
Oh,
pretty-
he's
Chris.
terrifying.
His name was
Chris,
Chris.
yeah,
Crisp.
What's
That's
the
what it
actor's
is.
name? 'Cause that's
Crisp.
really driving me nuts.
You're gonna die, Crisp.
Richard
Yeah.
Tyson.
Richard Tyson. Yeah, he was the bad guy. And you ever see 3 O'Clock High from the '80s?
No.
It was like this nerdy kid offends this like bully, and the bully's basically like, at 3 o'clock, I'm gonna kick your ass.
I have to add one thing. What
Please.
was up with villains in '90s movies having the tied back ponytail? Tell me that wasn't a thing.
That was a thing.
Not even
Yeah.
villains, but like Steven Seagal, like that guy. I'm sure there were plenty of others.
I
I'm
think
not
it was Steven
thinking of.
Seagal sort of set the trend.
Yeah, Steven Seagal, like he
Van
was.
Damme kind of.
Did he have a ponytail?
I think he had a ponytail.
Van Damme, no, he had a mullet.
He had a mullet? I
Van
thought he
Damme had a
ponytail.
mullet in the '80s, and then he got a short haircut. Later on, when he made like Bloodsport and all those
I've
movies.
never seen a Jean-Claude Van Damme film.
Really?
Not one.
Dude,
Well, what about
pretty good. Some of them were
was it
good.
Street Fighter?
Street
Has he
Fighter?
in
Have you ever
Street
seen
Fighter?
Street
He was Guile.
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
got
Yeah.
Maybe I saw Street Fighter when I was
You
younger.
had to have. It was such a good one.
I
Better than
I
Mortal
don't really
Kombat.
remember it.
Was
Well,
that
yeah.
was Raul Julia's last film,
It was.
right?
Not by much, but it was better than Mortal Kombat. Like, because Mortal Kombat
Wait,
wasn't that
you
good.
saying
either.
better than Mortal Kombat? I don't know about that. dude.
I don't know.
I don't
man.
know about that, dude. I am a
Mortal
big
Kombat.
fan of Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat the movie.
I feel like it
first
was one of those like movies
was
that
okay.
actually got video game movies kind of right.
I don't remember.
It was
anything
entertaining.
about it.
It was
fun.
cool.
It was like fun.
Good actors, I think.
Yeah.
Some of them.
Not all.
Having
Kano, the dude
Miss
who played
Vaughn,
Kano was awful.
having Miss Vaughn as
Miss Vaughn.
Sonya Blade was an interesting addition. If you don't
from-
remember, it was
from Billy Madison.
Yeah.
Billy Madison.
Yeah.
Her name is, what's her name again? Why am I forgetting?
Brigitte Wilson?
Brigitte Wilson.
Yeah, she's great.
Or Bridget Wilson. I don't know. Could be Brigitte.
Is
Brigitte
it Bridget or
sounds more
Brigitte?
like it sounds
French.
fancier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's her name.
It's
You know,
nice.
shit.
Good looking lady.
Oh yeah.
She's not an unattractive woman.
No.
Hey, hey, yeah.
Billy Madison, that's worth talking about. Adam Sandler
Yes.
movies in general. Billy Madison
much.
and Happy
90s,
Gilmore,
90s.
and possibly my favorite, The Wedding Singer. I love The Wedding Singer.
That could be my favorite.
Wedding Singer is great.
It is a good one.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd say my favorite.
What's
but
your
it's-
favorite?
It's a good one.
Close.
Hit me.
Might be Billy Madison.
Billy
I
Madison's
really love
great.
Billy
It's great,
Madison.
Billy Madison is just like sort of. I don't know. It just changes what it means to be a movie. I feel like he's just doing whatever in God's name he pleases. Yeah.
He's just Adam Sandler. He do whatever
Yeah.
he wants.
But I just something about The Wedding Singer really hits me in my. I mean, there's so many good scenes. Where the first scene after his first wedding back after
Yes.
the him being left at the altar. I mean, that's you can't.
Yeah.
He's all
You can't
depressed
do
and
that.
sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One more outburst like that, I'll strangle you with my microphone wire. And then it plays. We hear "Love Stinks" sometimes. You know, it plays a lot.
Yes.
And you can't. How can you?
Yeah, I always think of.
Yeah.
It's the
Oh,
first thing that I always think of.
Oh
when the
yeah,
song comes on.
it's so good. I love the way
John Lovitz.
John Lovitz is
Oh,
fantastic.
man.
Fantastic.
Oh.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Try to find yourself a DJ who can move and shake like this. Yeah.
He's losing his
Classic.
mind.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned your sister, and that's funny because
Yes.
we do have a comment from your sister here.
Boom.
It says girl angst bands. So
She was interesting in the 90s. She was into a lot of interesting things. But that was one of them.
sure.
Angst
Immediately I think of Hole,
Whole
classic.
garbage.
Garbage,
Garbage
is
great.
Bikini Kill, Jack Off Jill, things like this. I don't. She didn't name specifics, but these are the bands that come to my mind. Oh well, our sister was a big fan. I wonder they're probably around the same age. Your sister and
Probably.
our sister.
Yeah, I don't think so.
30s,
I'm thinking
38.
of Michelle
Yeah,
is how old is Michelle? How old
Michelle,
am
I believe, is-
37, right?
I thought she was 38.
Well, how old am I? I am 32. Michelle's 5 years
How
older
old?
than me.
So,
37. Yeah, they're just about
around
the same age.
They were probably in the same stuff.
Probably. I don't know if our sisters are going to like us mentioning it. You know, we can bleep out the numbers. That
Yeah,
we
let's
say.
put that
Yeah, sorry, 28 and 27. My bad.
We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
But Michelle, I don't know if Nicole was a fan of this band, but Michelle was a big fan of the Luna Chicks.
She could have been. She had so many CDs.
Your sister and I have talked at length about. We've even been to different shows together. Well, we didn't even know each
You
other.
guys
Like,
were there at the same time.
yeah, we went Deftones and Incubus at
Mhm.
Convention Hall in like 2000, the year 2000.
She was definitely
Yeah,
there.
I was
She
there
Incubus.
too. I mean, I would have been 13, but
Wow.
yeah.
That's awesome.
So yeah, I think that's all of the. I think that's all of them. Yeah, all of the viewer
Okay.
type comments. But I want to say, so I have a couple of things that when you say the 90s to me, a few things pop in my head immediately. Now I wanted to know, what do you like? If I say to you, DJ, the 90s, what immediately comes into your head when I say that to you?
All right. First thing's Nickelodeon.
Damn straight.
It has to be the first thing. I watched that every day growing up and loved it. It was my morning shows to watch, whether it be Hey Arnold or Rugrats or Rocket Power at one point, but that was kind of later on. The second thing has to be WWF. I'm wearing my Stone Cold shirt today. WWF in the late 90s, I was hooked on that.
Now, side note,
Hooked.
give us a little Stone Cold.
All right.
You can stand up if you want.
Take this off. I don't gotta stand up to be Stone Cold. I can sit down and do the interview. You want to do the damn interview? I'm sitting here right now. Bro. That's what we're here for, right? You got a couple questions for me? You can ask me a couple questions.
Do we have a beer in the fridge we can give them?
We do. It's not a can though. It would be a bottle.
No, because we don't want you smashing bottles. That would
No.
be.
No, I don't drink bottled beer. If you see me on TV, I drink cans of beer. I drink Miller Lite, whatever, Coors Light, PBR, whatever the hell you got. Because I like me a cold beer every once in a while.
So
That's
what
what Stone
about
Cold drinks.
how about this upcoming match you got though? How's that gonna go?
Well, you know, I'm facing The Rock at WrestleMania, and you know, Rock's a tough son of a bitch. But when you put him in the ring with Stone Cold Steve Austin, I'm gonna beat his ass every single time. It ain't really gonna matter.
The Rock just told me though that you don't stand a chance.
Whoop The Rock. Rock likes to talk a big game, you know. I really don't give a damn what The Rock has to say, quite honestly. You know, like Vince McMahon, he wants to put The Rock in the ring with Stone Cold Steve Austin. You know, he wants to try and screw Stone Cold because Vince McMahon doesn't want to see me as a WWF champion. Well, Vince McMahon has got his ass stunnered too plenty of times. And when WrestleMania rolls around, WrestleMania 15 in Anaheim, California, I'm going to beat The Rock's ass. And that's the bottom line.
I feel like this should end with you giving me a stoner, but let's not do that.
Nah,
Maybe
I
we
don't
can
wanna-
add that in post.
Let's
I
add
wanna
a
break
stunner
your
in
neck.
post.
I don't want to break your neck. I have to cancel the show. That's what I'm trying to do.
All right, so we're talking Nickelodeon.
So I'll get off of that.
We're talking
Shades
we're
of
talking
pink.
WWF. What else? What else immediately comes to mind?
Well, video games, specifically Sega Genesis and Nintendo 64. Sega, I played a lot of Sonic.
Oh, Sonic. Sean will tell you, Joe will tell you, I still play Sonic all the time.
Yep.
You know why? Because I like listening to music, but I don't know when to put an album on and just sit there. So it's like I can keep
Yeah.
my
You want to
eyes
do two things at
occupied.
once. Yeah, it's fun.
Sonic 2, I'll go on record.
Me too. That's the same.
Best video game of all time. And
Hey,
I know I don't keep up, but that's I don't know. I feel like it's perfect.
I feel like
Very
a
well
lot of
could
people
be.
would agree with you though. So
Yeah.
Oh.
And the
It is,
Mario
it's a
game,
classic. It's
what
a
is
great
it?
game.
Is it Super Mario World, the game for Super Nintendo?
Super Nintendo. Yeah.
That might be. They might be tied. So
That's classic.
you know what's funny? I think about. I'm sure you guys thought about this too, but like with movies, right? A sequel is genuinely seen as inferior. There are exceptions, Aliens, Godfather 2, but I feel like with video games, it's sort of the opposite. They refine the formula. So a lot of video games like Resident Evil 2, Sonic 2, Mario 3, or whatever, like these formulas get refined.
Some sequels are the best games of the series.
Right?
I
Yeah.
mean, for me personally, I mean, a lot of people would probably think that it was linked to the past, but Ocarina of Time for me, because I grew up with it, baby, is I find that being the best Zelda game,
We have that too.
and that's goes back and forth.
oh, Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that'll go back and forth. There's a lot of sequels that are superior,
Oh yeah.
in my opinion. But yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, well, because in Sonic, like Sonic 1, that little lean down spinny thing, that didn't exist in Sonic 1. Sonic 2.
Right.
And it's like
Right.
such a signature Sonic move,
Yeah, when I think Sonic, I think that move is in there.
right?
Yeah, where you duck, where you crouch, and
Yeah, oh yeah.
you wind up
That's an
and you go.
important move, too.
Yeah.
I find myself, if I'm going back playing Sonic 1, I want to be able to do that. Same with Crash Bandicoot. Things get refined, although Crash 1 is
Crash 1's
pretty
hard
great,
to top.
pretty
That
great.
was such a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that
96?
98?
I wanna say-
Probably 96 or
I want to say
97.
96.
I thought it was
Joe,
later.
confirmation?
PlayStation had just come
I'm
out.
saying 96 conclusively. I'm not going to back down.
That's kind of part of my answer. What I think of when I think of the '90s, I think of PlayStation 1, man.
See, I didn't grow up with PlayStation
I
1,
love
but
PlayStation.
I had
was
friends who-
1996.
Oh,
96, yeah.
September
That's
9th.
what I figured.
that's right.
Friends who grew up with that, with PlayStation as their first system. Mine was really Sega Genesis, but Nintendo 64 came soon after, and that was what I really grew up with. So,
64.
Yeah,
you have your PlayStation people and your Nintendo people.
nice. So, Sean, when I say 90s to you, what do you think?
Like I said,
Immediately.
I feel PlayStation obviously comes to mind. I
Mhm.
think AOL. I think the beginning of the internet.
Mm-hmm.
I remember going online to try figure out video games and check out my favorite band's web page. Oh, got nothing. Whew.
Wow, remember that? That
Just-
was nauseating.
That's the part right there where you just panic and wonder if it's going to connect, right?
Yep.
I feel like
There we
this is we're a generation that's grown up with
Every form
with
of
so much
technology.
patience because think about it. Remember going online? It was such a fucking process.
We grew up with it. I feel like it's gone now, though. Now that we're given everything instantly, I feel like we don't have the patience anymore.
I feel
We've
like I have
been
some
raised.
patience. I have some fairly.
Well, you know what's weird? We had more patience back then because we had to, because nothing was refined yet. And
Yeah.
now we're in the age where everything's instant.
It's right at your fingertips.
So
Yeah.
back then, I remember, it was like, oh well, you know what? It might work, it might not, but you know what? I don't need this. I can go off. I'll go outside.
Sure.
Yeah.
Do you remember watching
I'll go outside
MTV or
Ride
listening
down
to the
the bike
radio,
somewhere.
waiting for like the song you wanted to
Dude,
hear?
it was
It's
amazing.
unimaginable
Yeah.
to me now that I wouldn't be able to hear a song that I want to hear. Like if I have a song in my head, I'm gonna hear it somehow, some way, Spotify, YouTube, or whatever. But remember back in the day, you had to.
You would have to tape it off the
Appreciate
radio,
things.
Yeah.
or you would have to, like, if you liked a song from a movie, you would have to track down the soundtrack, and you would get the
Yeah.
soundtrack, and then inevitably you wouldn't like any of the other
Oh
songs.
yeah,
You just
for
like
sure.
that
You'd
one
have to
song.
spend $15 because you wanted
Yep.
to hear one song. I mean, there were CD singles,
That's
but not
right.
everything was on a single. You know?
I
So-
remember being so blown away when music services started being a thing and being like, I can just get one song?
Yep.
That's
Napster.
awesome.
I remember when I
Napster
was
was
a
a thing.
kid being
Yeah.
a big Aerosmith fan. They were my favorite band when I was
He's
a kid.
huge Aerosmith
And I remember thinking, well, first off, I thought that every song had a music video, which of course now I know that's not true. But I was thinking, I wish there was something where I could, at any time, I could just watch any video I wanted. I wish that existed. It exists now. Isn't that crazy?
It is.
Like the future is now. I mean, the present.
We don't
is.
stop to think about it, but really, this stuff is fucking
Yeah.
magic.
And Spotify, like,
It's crazy.
say what you will about Spotify, or I know people prefer physical media, and I have vinyls, I have CDs still. Spotify is incredible.
That's every
It's-
album.
It's
Every
unbelievable.
song, different versions of songs. Every album you can find. It's amazing.
The other day we had the discussion of just this show. Look what we're doing. Like this.
Yeah,
Imagine
that's
us
true.
doing
We're
this.
online. We
possible.
just put ourselves on YouTube for everybody to see.
We're on
Yeah,
the
we
interwebs.
were thinking if we were doing this in the
Interwebs.
90s, we would have to, like, record it onto a VHS tape and just circulate it around.
Yeah, hey, check out our tape.
Oh.
Oh, man. Oh, look what it is, man.
Doing the Honey Nut Cheerios commercial.
You gotta eat your Honey Nut Cheerios, brother, because you gotta be ready for the next match, dude.
Sorry, I didn't mean to distract us. I figured you'd want to say
Dude,
that, though.
Hulk Hogan, he probably really ate Cheerios, too, like back in the day. Because he was all about, getting his vitamins and minerals and all that stuff. Look at him.
I saw an ad online for like
Look at the
a
mustache.
little Hulk starter kit or whatever. It had like little 5-pound weights in it and a sweatband and.
That's great, man.
I was like, "Yep, that's all you need."
Hulk Hogan
Frame
is...
Roger Rabbit.
Yeah, that's another good one.
Was the rest of the episode just gonna be us watching these?
Just us watching the
I think we
tunnels.
physically need to turn away from this.
Yeah, we need to
because-
By the
stop.
way, I love McDonald's back in the night. McDonald's actually is a big staple from the 90s.
Oh,
Do
that-
you remember we
the
were looking up,
toys,
McDonald's
and the
Play
kids'
Place?
meals?
Yeah.
Oh,
I had a
so
birthday
Play Place was
there?
awesome. I
So
love the
fun.
Play
Oh my
Place.
god.
Do you remember we were looking yesterday? We were looking up and we saw these Batman Forever mugs, like big, or they're like beer pints or something like that. But maybe we can throw that up. Right?
Yeah, we can throw it up
Right.
on the bottom.
Right
Batman
there. Those
Forever.
things.
Yeah. Do you remember those?
Yeah, I do. I do
Yes.
remember those.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, McDonald's had a lot of. I mean, now we know the type of place it is. But I
Yeah.
mean, for a kid, you
Yeah,
know,
it's a magical.
toys and junk food.
That was healthy
and-
food for me when I was a kid, man. I didn't know what healthy food was. It was McDonald's. Burgers and fries, man.
Oh, yeah. Do we want to do our movie thing now?
Yeah, let's do the
What's the
movie.
list of movies? Because I have a very long list of movies.
Let's do it. I want to do all of them. So here's what we want to do with these movies. I figured there's so many iconic movies from the 90s.
Yes.
90s was a great. Some of my favorite movies come from the 90s.
too.
Off the top of my head, well, 3 off the top of my head: Dazed and Confused, Pulp Fiction, and Grosse Point Blank, Clueless, Wayne's World. Like so many. So I thought what we can do is he's going to shout a movie title at us, and we're going to give it a star rating, 1 out of 5.
Oh, cool. That's
So
awesome.
I say we do this in formation. So we'll do Sean, DJ, me each time. So each time we know, boom, 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 right
Cool.
down the line. And we can stop to discuss after each one.
Okay.
And I thought
Berate people who didn't like a movie.
I would love to. If someone has anything bad to say about Pulp Fiction, which you guys won't.
No.
What if we haven't seen it?
If we haven't seen it, just
Because
say.
I've seen a lot of 90s.
Yeah, oh yeah,
I'm
then
pretty
definitely
sure
that's
you've seen
just.
everything.
Pretty sure
on this
every one of
list.
those.
But if
Okay.
you haven't seen it, just say I haven't seen it. That's
Okay.
all.
So I've
You
seen
don't need
a
to-
lot.
Or you can give it a star rating based on what you think it might
It
be.
Yeah,
might-
Funny,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
what your
Sure.
impression.
But
of
say it
is.
off the bat, like I haven't seen it, but based
Oh,
on what I know of
it's-
it,
What I've heard, it's
So that's what we do as Americans. We judge and don't have the knowledge behind it.
Oh yeah,
I've probably seen
we're all
these
critics.
movies.
I'm thinking. We went through the list yesterday. I feel like
pretty
these are
popular.
pretty.
If you haven't seen it, you've
widely
definitely
seen
heard of it or
movies.
seen clips. It's
Okay.
one of those.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm
it's
excited
a
for this. I think this will
Yeah,
be
this
fun.
is awesome.
All right, hit
Going
us.
in any specific
Hit us,
order.
Joe.
Kazam.
Kazam.
Oh,
Whoa.
Kazam! Oh my
Kazam.
god!
We start with Sean. Kazam.
From what I remember, I'm gonna give it a 3.
I'm gonna give it a 3 as well. 3 out of 5.
I will say I'll give it a 3 too, because I remember we saw it in the theater. I don't remember much about it, but the scene that sticks in my mind is the raining of the junk food, and that's worth 3 stars alone.
Yeah.
You know?
That's hilarious. We are so brothers because that's exactly why I gave it 3 stars because of that junk food scene. Awesome.
Do you remember
As
that
a
scene,
fat
DJ?
kid, I loved
I don't
it.
remember
Oh my
much from
God.
the movie, but I did watch it as a kid because Shaq was in it.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I used to play basketball a lot as a kid, so I thought it was
Yeah.
cool. Like Shaq's this genie guy, you
Yeah.
know, he's
Wee
with
Gene.
this kid.
Oh,
But like,
the Wee Genie song.
Yeah.
It's rough.
I remember very little. from
Re-listen,
it, but
re-listen to it. It's
Classic.
rough.
I can
It's
play it
rough.
right now. You don't want to hear it live. we
Wee
can-
Genie. Yeah,
sure,
let's do
sure,
it.
play it.
Play it.
Yeah,
Are
hit
you
us
sure
with that.
about this?
Sure.
Cue it.
Let's see what it's like with
This
these.
might
things
be
on
getting
there.
cut because of YouTube, but I don't think it
I think
will.
you're a little bit better over there because we're staring. And
Oh, you're staring, right?
Is that it? Is that the whole deal? You wanna be a hit? You better.
Is that the little kid rapping?
Yep.
Look at this little kid.
Did his career go anywhere?
The kid or Shaq?
The kid. I guess both.
Shaq
Shaq
can
had a
never
pretty good
recover.
career, I think.
Shaq's not bad at all.
He does icy hot commercials now.
Does he? Oh,
He did at one
He's not
point.
young anymore.
Wow, man. Look at the earring. That dangly thing. What was with the 90s and genies, like granting wishes? I feel like there was a lot of
wasn't
that.
a big thing in the
Well, hey,
90s.
speaking of genies granting
right.
wishes,
Aladdin.
Aladdin, that's what I'm talking about. Aladdin.
Aladdin. No, wasn't Aladdin great?
Enough of that.
They're making a remake of Aladdin.
Aladdin was
I
my
think it's
favorite
out.
Disney
Isn't it out?
movie.
A
As a kid.
real Aladdin movie. Who would have thought?
Yeah. All right, what's the next movie?
Live action.
Hit us.
Okay.
Clueless.
Clueless. I'm gonna give that a. You know, I didn't like it as a kid, but I rewatched it recently. 4. I give it a 4. I like it. Good movie.
I haven't seen it since I was a kid. My sister used to love Clueless. I'll give it a 3 out of 10, out of 5. I mean, only because it was like one of those movies where I was like, it's a girl movie. You know? Like, but it was a great movie.
Great
Like,
movie.
from what
Great
I,
movie.
It was
Great
actually pretty. Like I remember my sister putting it on, and me sitting there watching it and being like, why am I watching this? And then like an hour would go by, and I'm like, oh, I'm still watching this. I guess it's pretty good.
It must be good.
You know, I'm into it. But yeah, definitely. Great.
5, without a doubt. Hands down, without a doubt, 5. I love Clueless. Great movie, no matter what gender or age you are. That movie is
Yeah,
awesome.
see, like, we're going back to the 90s where it was, like, little boys, like, I don't want to do little girl things, and, like, you know. But I won't get into that.
Great movie. And then I would like to shout out to one of my favorite musical cameos is from the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones in Clueless.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Priceless. I love that movie. I love Amy Heckerling wrote and directed that movie. Also directed Fast Times at Ridgemont High. So Amy Heckerling directed one of the most iconic 80s teen movies and one of the most iconic 90s teen movies.
Wow.
So that's I think that movie's great. And also Mighty Mighty Boss Tones playing in Asbury Park with the Bouncing Souls this summer. I cannot wait for that. Anyway.
All right, next up on the list is The Craft.
The Craft.
Oh, yeah.
Can we give negative?
Sean
Negative 5. I fucking
gives
hate that
negative
movie.
5 to The
I
Craft.
fucking hate that movie.
The Craft was like that witch movie.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Was the one where she had, like, heads in her, or am I thinking of something else? Like, the
Heads?
main witch, she had, like, all these, like, these dead, like, mannequin heads in her, like, palace. I think I'm thinking of
Definitely
something
something
else.
else.
Well, this is more of like this
This might have been Goosebumps or something.
This was like teen girls in the 90s getting into witchcraft.
Yes,
It
yeah.
was-
You know what? Now I remember. I think because it was on Netflix recently too. I think
Yeah,
they
yeah.
put it on there. I don't remember much about it. I'll give it a 1 just to be fair. But it was
Everyone's
probably
being-
really cheesy.
Everyone's being really
Yeah.
mean to the craft.
I hate that.
I don't particularly enjoy that movie. I don't remember enjoying it. I haven't seen it in years and years and years. I know our mom is very fond of that movie. I like
Cult classic.
Robin Tunney, Fairuza Balk. I think Christine Taylor's in that movie. I like the cast. I'll give it a 3, but I don't much remember it.
I just never cared for like witch lore. It just wasn't my
Which
thing.
type of
Yeah.
stuff?
Yeah.
I got you. All
I
right.
was quite into it. Except for one movie. You know
Yes.
what movie I'm going to talk about?
I don't.
Hocus Pocus.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. Hocus
I remember
Pocus
that.
is great.
Yeah, I like that when I was a
That
kid.
was a good movie.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right, here we
Focus
go.
Pocus. 5s all around.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna hit you with a good one right here.
All right.
A divisive movie.
Oh, okay.
Super Mario Brothers.
Oh, man. Wow.
Can we give over 5?
Dude, that
Well,
movie.
you just gave -5.
I'm
You
just-
can give 10 to this one.
I'm
if you
gonna
want.
give. I'm gonna give it 1 million.
That's
I'm
too
gonna
many
give
stars,
Super-
man.
I'm gonna
That's
give
too many
Super Mario
stars.
Brothers 1 million. We
Still in my
rewatched
pocket.
it recently over Thanksgiving, and I still love it. Such a weird
N64.
Oh, GoldenEye? Hell yeah.
Alright,
That's
movie. Oh
GoldenEye.
my god, that was a classic.
Anyway, I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10 just because John Leguizamo's in it. And he's
great.
playing Luigi. And that's
Yeah.
just like the best thing you can possibly. The Pest as Luigi.
Thank you.
Dude,
Thank you. Also, a
Um,
great movie, The Pest.
The Pest. 90s.
I think I'm going to be far less praising of this film.
Oh shit.
But I'll say this though, you watched. I know Sean watched it recently. I haven't seen it since I was a kid. What I'm gonna say is, I remember Mom and Dad taking us to see that in Hazlitt, and I remember coming out and feeling like I was on top of the world. And my mom, they had like booster shoes in that movie.
Yes.
I remember Dad, like I was like, Dad, look, get, and he would like boost us up like we were wearing the booster shoes. So I remember, like if you're 8 years old or 7 years old when that movie comes out, you go to see it. I had an amazing time. So you know what? 5. How about that?
Okay.
It was a blast and such a strange movie.
Yeah, I'm watching it as an
Weird
adult.
movie.
I know I have a completely different perspective on it, but all I know of it is I really loved it when I was 7 years old.
When we rewatched it,
did
I was like,
too.
it's fun.
That's
It's
priceless
just a fun
too.
movie.
Things
It's
that,
a real life Mario.
yeah, exactly.
You know,
That's
it's
all
like-
I knew about it. I didn't know like, oh, this is weird, and the studio didn't want to do it, and Dennis Hopper, and like I don't know anything. All I know is Mario in front
I
of me.
gotta say, even as a kid though, I was a little disappointed because I was like expecting like Bowser. And,
Yeah, but it's like a guy.
but it's
with
some
weird
dude.
hair.
And I'm like, this isn't Bowser, man. Like,
he's definitely not Bowser. Yeah, that's
And
true.
then they had Princess Daisy and not Peach, which was okay. But I was
The
like, well,
Goombas were very strange.
The
too.
Goombas were like
with the
these-
small
yeah, the
head
little
and
heads.
the big body.
Yeah.
Doesn't that
very
always sound
strange.
racist to you, that Goomba?
Goomba, yeah.
Goomba's coming here taking our jobs.
Freaking
Like-
Goombas. Come on,
But
man.
no, they're just little mushrooms.
Just little mushroom people. It's okay.
Anyway,
That's what
okay,
they are.
what's next?
Let's
Pulp
go.
Fiction.
Oh,
Okay, Jesus.
Another million. And I have to give it another
Yeah,
million.
Like, what do you?
It's a great movie.
Pulp Fiction. I mean, my favorite movie, maybe. What else do you need in a movie, DJ? It's like got
nothing
everything.
else. It's got a lot. It's got Christopher Walken.
Oh yeah.
It's got
Watch was in his ass.
It's that's a
Fantastic
watch.
performances. It had that great interwoven story, which it was so
I know-
fantastic, multi-layered,
Yeah.
and they all
Dude,
met in the middle. You
I know Jarmusch did it in Mystery Train earlier, and I don't know if Quentin was kind of like inspired by that, but Mystery Train's a good movie.
Also, fantastic movie. If you
Yeah,
check-
Mystery
check
Train,
out
another
Mystery
great
Train.
movie.
Can,
From
can I ask you guys? Sorry to
Yes.
interrupt. Can I ask you guys who your favorite character was from Pulp Fiction? Do you have a favorite
Oh,
character?
good question. Well, here, you tell me your favorite character, and then I'm
Me?
gonna brainstorm it.
Butch. Bruce
Yeah.
Willis. Yeah, absolutely.
That might be the best story in the movie, because that one, it's like, think about it. Okay, so we've seen it a million times. Conservatively, we've all seen it a million times. But imagine watching that. How could you ever see where that story goes? You know what I mean?
There's no way.
You
It's
could
just-
never predict. Oh well, what's going to happen is they're going to wind up in like a weird sex dungeon, and
It's like movie crack. Like you're just hooked on it the whole time. Like you don't know
Yeah.
why, but you are.
you know who I think is a great character is I can't say maybe my favorite, but like Marcellus Wallace. I mean,
Oh wow.
because
Marcellus
you
Wallace
see
is
him as
great,
such a like tough guy figure, and then you just see him like
Yeah.
broken down after what
Oh,
happens.
God. I wasn't
Um,
expecting that scene the first time I saw
oh,
that.
I mean, and then you gotta give it up to Travolta. I mean,
Oh, they were all great.
Yeah.
Man. I mean,
Oh,
it's hard
but-
to pick a favorite.
Samuel L. Jackson is
Oh, dude.
to die for in that movie. Just when he's given the that speech, that biblical, and that whole thing. You know, one ain't no country I ever heard of. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what's better than that.
Even the part when he's
hard
at
to
the
top.
diner and he's talking to
Oh, yeah?
Brett. Oh,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
the other guy, the Ringo. He's
Yeah,
talking to him.
Ringo and Honey Bunny.
Honey Bunny.
Honey Bunny is classic.
Oh, and she's Amanda Plummer as Honey Bunny. She's fantastic too. She's like unhinged in that movie.
Oh yeah.
That opening scene
Tell
with
that
her.
bitch to
The opening with her and Tim Roth, because it's like think
Yes.
about that too. When you're just thrust into this, and you're like, what is even happening, right? And then I think about this a lot because then. You see, they're going for a robbery. You see that at the end of the scene, and then the Dick Dale, rest in peace, Dick Dale. I love your music. His
Love it.
Miser Lou starts playing, and then we're done with that. So, like, imagine the first time you see that movie, you're like, but what? But then so much happens, right? That I'm sure you've forgotten about that opening scene, and then in the end, when we're in the diner, you're like, oh,
Yep.
oh, snap!
It comes back
like we're
around.
back into it. I mean, probably my favorite movie.
Well, that was the first, like, real Tarantino film I feel like that really took off. I mean, Reservoir Dogs.
Apparently,
was
Reservoir
popular.
Dogs was a lot bigger in England.
In England, but Pulp Fiction was huge in the States.
Oh
I
yeah,
remember hearing
and
about
it's
it.
just, can you think of a more iconic? Like so much about it is iconic. Film from the '90s. I don't know. I feel like it's the one.
Could be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As many stars as can possibly be given. Sorry, we held on that one for a
Yeah.
while.
Gotta keep moving.
You know.
Next up is Matilda.
Oh,
Matilda. I'm gonna give it a solid 4. It was a good movie. I really enjoyed that one.
You guys want to hear some really crazy shit?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I've never seen Matilda.
Whoa.
Never seen Matilda.
All right, so
I know Matilda. I know the movie.
all right, so based on what you know the movie to be and what it means to other people,
I'm gonna give it like a 4, probably.
4? Nice. Yeah, Matilda, I would say I would give a 4. I remember growing up a big Roald Dahl fan, like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Matilda, The Witches, all those, and I remember holding that movie very close to my heart when I was younger. So yeah, I'm gonna give it a 4. There's some unpleasant stuff in there.
Oh
There's
yeah.
some really,
When I was a
scene.
kid.
yeah, the cake scene is pretty rough. I don't know if you. There's a like, boy. Actually, he's the same kid in The Wedding Singer. The kid who's sitting by himself.
Yes,
and
the
he's
little
like,
chubby kid.
yeah. So he basically, what had happened? He like stole a piece of cake, and the principal, who's very Trunchbull is her name. She's very mean and vindictive. Like forces him to eat an entire chocolate cake
Oh my God.
in the auditorium in front of all the children.
Oh, that's horrible.
And you know,
Poor kid.
Matilda starts like cheering him on, like I think his name is Brucey, like go Brucey, you can do it. And he eats the whole thing, but man, is it gross to watch. It is.
Yeah.
Does he get sick after? Like.
Does
I
I don't
think
know.
he does, but they
think
cut
he
it
does.
before he starts puking.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then there was
That's like a child abuse.
Oh well,
Yeah.
child abuse. Listen to this. There was a room called the Chokey, where
Oh,
it basically was a tiny room, enough room for one person, one child to stand, and it was protruding with like nails, and so it's like you could literally only stand.
Like an Iron Maiden.
Yeah, so
Wow.
it was like a medieval punishment. Like,
See?
so if you were in trouble.
See, kids of today, we grew up in the school of hard knocks.
That's right, man.
We had to stand in rooms with nails surrounding us and eat chocolate cakes and get sick.
Are we going to be
That was
putting
life.
up the movie posters
Yes.
here? Yeah, I think that's a
Nice.
good idea. Okay, so Matilda.
Alright.
Nice
Let's see.
educated guess though you got there with that one.
I'm gonna go with something a little more 90s. A little more 90s than Matilda.
Okay.
Wayne's World.
Oh,
Wait,
Wayne's
hang on.
World.
Hang on.
Yeah, what a movie. Classic. Dude.
Johnny?
It's-
Give it.
It's another million. Another million stars. Done.
Oh.
Great movie.
10 out of 10.
Yeah.
I mean, 2 is also phenomenal as well.
This is the complete epic, so you got both of them
Oh,
in there.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, I
Wayne's
mean,
World.
it goes without saying. It's just, it's a classic movie. I mean, God, camera 1, camera 2. What am I going to do with a gun rack? I don't even own a gun. Let alone many guns that would necessitate an entire rack.
What am I gonna do with a gun rack?
We broke up. Get the net.
She says, doesn't mean we can't go out. He said, well, that's exactly what it
That's
is.
exactly what breaking up is. Yeah.
Wayne's World is the best. I mean, it's tattooed on my brain. It's like,
Yeah, man.
if someone told me like you can live your whole life, but you can't ever see Wayne's World again, I mean, I would seriously question everything. Like, what's the point? Wayne's World it's like a warm blanket. I'd love it as an adult if I'd never seen it as a kid, but I remember, even like when the second one, I guess was like 1994. I remember being so excited for the second one to come out, and I was a big Saturday Night Live fan as a kid. Wayne's World's just the best. I can't even, like, I can't even express how my affection for Wayne's World, and I love Mike Myers. I love Dana Carvey. Dana
They
Carvey,
work so well together.
best Saturday Night Live cast member ever. I think Dana Carvey, no joke.
Yeah.
All right, next up on the list, Goodfellas.
Oh man.
Goodfellas. Definitely. Alright, I'm gonna stop giving fake. It's a 5. It's a 5 for sure.
Yeah.
Goodfellas is a fantastic movie. Great performances. Ray Liotta, killing it.
Ron Tomato, Joe Pesci.
Definitely a 5.
Pesci. Oof.
Yeah, I give it a 5 too. Although I would like to shout out a sort of lesser seen 90s mob movie that I probably like better than Goodfellas. That's no offense to Goodfellas, but A Bronx Tale
Oh,
Okay,
Bronx
I
Tale is
think
very good.
is needs to be spoken more of. Like, it's the classic that it is. I think that's Robert De Niro's directorial debut, and he knocked it out of the park. Script by Chaz Palminteri based on his life, and anyway, I love Goodfellas. I don't want to get off topic.
No, I recently rewatched that. Fantastic.
Bronx Tale is
fantastic.
really, really good. Really good.
I remember being a kid and Goodfellas was just on TV. I was probably like 10 or 11, so it was after it had already come out. And there was the scene was on where Joe Pesci was just stabbing the guy in the trunk. And he's like, he's like stabbing him. And I'm like, this movie's freaking brutal. Like, I remember being a kid, like, I don't know if I should be watching this right now. And that was my first impression of Goodfellas.
I would love to
Just
hear your impression
Joe
of
Pesci just stabbing this
I would
guy.
love to hear your impression of Joe Pesci stabbing a guy again.
Before that,
you had little noises going.
He's
there.
like, and before that, my only exposure to Joe Pesci was Home Alone. Like, that was it. And he had like all the
What
gel.
man just doing?
Yeah,
Why?
I'm like, why is he doing that? It's really messed up, man.
Oh shit. Oh shit.
Whoa.
Street Sharks.
Whoa.
Yes!
What is this? Oh my
You never saw
God.
Street Sharks, man?
Street
Shit.
Sharks?
This is my shit. I think I used to own these.
It's like a
guys.
kid, my
Yeah, I
worst
used to have
fear
those
as a
guys.
kid, probably like a shark walking on the street.
Oh, they were fucking radical extreme.
Oh,
Rad
dude, toys
as
of the 90s, man.
One of them was on rollerblades, right?
Yeah, look, there it is.
Yeah. There was the one who had rollerblades.
Like
There was one who
overhead.
skateboarded.
What a great idea.
They were all very extreme.
Alright, I got a good one. Since you
Alright, what do
mentioned
you got?
Aerosmith.
Yeah.
You know where I'm going with this.
Oh, wait.
Armageddon.
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 Armageddon. All right.
I'm gonna go negative again. -5 stars. I hated it. I did not like it. Did not care for it.
Oh, dude. Come on, man.
Oh snap! We're gonna have our first argument here.
Was it because
I didn't like Aerosmith.
Ben Affleck was in it?
First
Is
of
that
all,
why?
didn't like Aerosmith. I didn't care for it. Didn't like
What
it.
do you have against Ben Affleck, man?
I like Ben Affleck
I'm a
fine.
fan of Ben Affleck.
I actually like Ben Affleck fine. I
Yeah,
actually
okay, so it wasn't
enjoy a
him.
lot of his movies.
You don't
it
like
wasn't him. It was this-
Michael Bay?
Yeah, Michael Bay.
I'm not a Michael Bay
I
fan
hate
either.
Michael Bay.
What would you give Armageddon Beach?
I actually liked Armageddon as a kid. I don't know why. I think it was just.
Space shuttles.
I thought it was
explosions.
so emotional, and they're all going to space, and he sings "To Liv Tyler." I'm leaving on a jet plane.
Wow.
Don't know when I'll be back again. You know, it's just what a movie. No, in all honesty, I'd probably give it a 3.
I would say I would give it a 3 as well, because I haven't seen it as a grown up. I remember us going to see it in Tennessee. And yeah, I mean, it's a lot of big action. Steve Buscemi's in it, right?
Steve Buscemi is
I love
in
him. I
Armageddon.
love him. He's great.
Yes, he is.
He's great. He had a really
Forgot.
good cast, though. Bruce Willis and...
Well, you're gonna have me travel in a spaceship. Oh, jeez, I don't know how.
That guy is the...
I don't know if I want to do that now.
He's actually, this show, I feel like, this show that we're doing now, Steve has a I don't know if it's still on, but it's a talk show called Park Bench with Steve Buscemi. And he just sort of interviews people around New York, like on random park benches, and does all these crazy segments. Shows like that made me think, like, oh man, like I can do a talk show, and I had that in my head for years. And finally, one day we just decided to do it. So I love that guy. He's if we were going to talk '90s classics, sort of a lesser or not forgotten, but one that people don't talk about quite as much. Airheads.
Airheads, I had
Airheads
that
is
on DVD.
great.
You
Yep.
ever see it?
Yep. Saw that one.
Airheads is one of my favorites. That's Brendan Fraser, Steve Buscemi, Adam Sandler in a band together, holding up a radio station, trying to get them to play the demo tape. Chris Farley's in it too. You know.
Oh yeah, that's right. Chris Farley is in there.
Ernie Hudson from Ghostbusters. Michael Richards. We just got to deal with him in there.
Yeah. It's like the perfect '90s movie. Right?
Oh,
There's a lot of good people.
that movie's great.
Speaking of 90s movies that are perfect, Dazed and Confused.
Oh,
Yeah, that's a 5 out of 5. Such a good movie.
See, I don't even
Love
know
it.
if I saw that either.
you know, so DJ.
Oh,
Dazed and Confused. I know the
gotta see
name,
that one.
but I don't think I
Such a
ever
good one.
wandered into that. I never wandered into Dazed and Confused.
All right, so based on, even if you know nothing about it, based on maybe just the title,
Yeah,
what
just
do you,
the title.
what do you give it out
What
of
do you give it out of 5 for
out
the
of
title?
5?
Who was in it actually? Who was like the main?
But all these people who are, it's an ensemble cast of teens, but everyone, so I'm going to say some names to you, and I want you to keep in mind these people were not famous.
Yeah.
He was going for unknown child actors. So.
By the way, this is good for all the younger viewers. who
Oh yeah,
don't know,
for
so
sure.
I'm
well,
learning.
our
what
niece
you're doing.
watches. I don't know if she knows anything about what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
So let's see. I'm trying to let's like work our way up to the real big ones. Where we had Parker Posey in there, Joey Lauren Adams, Mila Jovovich,
Oh, okay.
Adam Goldberg. Now let's say how about Matthew McConaughey.
Oh, wow.
Now let's say how about Ben Affleck.
Oh, so like a lot of those up and coming '90s stars that would later on become very
Oh
famous.
yeah, McConaughey probably his most iconic role. Like, you know, him saying like all right. That's straight from
It's
that
from
movie.
that movie.
Yeah,
I'd give it a 4 probably then, just based off of that.
I'd give it like, I would say Dazed and Confused and Pulp Fiction are probably tied for my favorite movies
Wow.
of all time. Dazed and Confused, it's very thin on plot. Basically, it's the last day of school in Austin, Texas in 1976. The beginning starts out with like there's these rituals of the seniors. The class who's graduating to become seniors go out and paddle on the bottom. The 8th graders that are going to become freshmen. So that's like the first half of the movie. The second half is basically they're having a kegger at the Moon Tower. And really, it's not heavy on plot at all. You're just hanging out with these characters.
Yeah,
Which is
Those are
why.
the best movies.
Oh, it has the most rewatchability.
Clerks.
Oh yeah, kind of like a little long. This came out a year before Clerks, and the guy who, actually, funny you should mention Clerks because Richard Linklater wrote and directed Dazed and Confused, probably my favorite filmmaker of all time. He made a movie called Slacker, which came out in the very early '90s, which is set in Austin, Texas. There's no plot to it. There's a guy who's taking a cab ride. And then he runs into another guy, and then we spend some time with that guy, and then we spend some time with this guy. It's all conversation driven. It all takes place around Austin, Texas. Kevin Smith sees that movie and goes, "I want to be a filmmaker."
Oh wow,
So
that makes
movie
sense.
inspired him to make Clerks. Yeah, I can't say you, TJ, for real. We got come on
Well,
over and we'll
yeah.
watch Dazed and Confused.
Definitely. And here's another interesting thing. You talk about how now a lot of people are doing talk shows like this.
Mhm.
That's kind of what that is if you think about it. It's very candid. It's very like personal.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of movies, like even Pulp Fiction, there were a lot of scenes like that where it was very like you're watching two people have a conversation, but you're hooked on it
Yeah.
for some reason.
Oh, for sure.
It makes you feel like I guess you're there, like you're part of the, you know.
Well, they talk about things that aren't like have no bearing on the plot really, because I remember Tarantino saying like people don't just stand around talking about the plot all day. You know what I mean? So
No.
that's why you get them talking about TV shows or Royale with cheese or whatever. Because you think about it, that has nothing to do with the plot. Him being like Royale with cheese, one of the most iconic things from the movie, but it has nothing to do with the plot other than that
Right.
Yeah.
he was in
Nothing.
Europe. You know, that has nothing to do with anything. But it's like it's in there for texture. You know, and anyway, Dazed and Confused. DJ, we gotta watch that movie.
We will definitely have to see it.
The Usual Suspects.
Okay.
Well, y'all are usual.
Usual Suspects. I remember thinking it was alright as a kid, and then, now I see it and I'm like, I don't know. I give it like a 2. It's fine.
You seen it?
I actually haven't.
No.
I haven't seen it. But I've heard the name. I've heard of all these names, these movies, like, because there's. I was born in '91, so like I saw a lot of '90s movies, but there was a lot I didn't see because I was like younger. So maybe that was one of those movies where like I was too young to really get into it.
Yeah.
If it was, but I've heard the name. I'm
So,
trying to remember.
Based on the name, what do you say?
I'd probably give it a 3, based off the name, because I feel like there's probably some pretty decent actors in that.
There's who's
yes.
in it? Kevin Spacey, Chaz Palminteri, Benicio del Toro, Kevin Pollak.
Oh, yeah.
Who else is in it?
A lot of good impressionists in that.
Oh yeah,
Two-
Kevin
two-
Pollak is yeah.
2 impressionists that do Christopher Walken really good. Kevin
Kevin
Pollak
Spacey,
and
yeah.
Kevin Spacey.
yeah, they do a good.
Excellent Christopher
Okay,
Walken impressions.
Kevin Pollak is known for his William Shatner, right? He was
Sorry,
kinda-
William Shatner and...
If I could stop you, you said doo-doo.
Oh, forgive me. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. I don't like The Usual Suspects at all. I think I don't like that movie. I give it a 1, but I feel like there's good actors in it and good performances. But it's one of those movies that has a twist ending that renders the movie just absolutely pointless. So at the end, you're trying to like show off this twist. You're like, oh, look at that. And you're like, okay, so you just wasted 2 hours of my life.
So nothing in the movie mattered at all.
Yeah, so it was just a huge waste of time. You just showed me nothing.
We've got 6 left.
Okay, all right, let's do
Can
it.
we pause for just a sec?
Take a...
I drank too much coffee. I had to pee.
You gotta pee?
Yeah, that's why I was
Gotta
going to
pee?
go away.
Right back.
All right, go ahead.
Pause.
So, DJ, let's talk about how much I hate my brother. That guy is the
Who
worst.
takes a bathroom break during a show?
A real
I can
loser.
cheat, though. I'm behind the camera.
How
No, he's
unprofessional.
behind. No, really though. Like, honestly, what I want to do here, since he's gone, do you want to be the new co-host, the most Gusto?
Sure.
Okay, all right.
Absolutely.
Because like I've had enough to hear with him. He's always peeing. Like, why do you
I could be
gotta-
such a better co-host than him.
I think
Oh my
you
God.
would be able to hold it down for me. This guy doesn't even know how to use a bowl. You know, I had to teach him how to do that.
He eats Fruit Loops on a table.
What?
There's
What?
milk everywhere. What
It
is
was
wrong
pouring
with him?
and dripping, and I had to tell him like, use a bowl, man.
God,
Oh my God! And that
what a
this-
disgusting person.
right? He's so bad.
So bad.
No, I'm kidding. My brother's a sweet kid.
I mean, you'd want a co-host who could do Stone Cold Steve Austin at the
I would.
snap of a
That's
finger.
important, and I don't think he could do that.
No.
And he gets real aggro with the guests for some reason.
God,
and the
I know.
audience,
Like,
he's
you
always
see-
yelling and pointing. And
Pointing at them, like telling them that they suck and that they need to be hard on
yeah,
them.
right? What is that? They're be kindly enough to view our show.
They're kind internet viewers, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like they're the kindest people in the world, right?
Yeah. So honestly, like I think I wanna lock him in the basement, and I don't think I want him to come
coming.
out.
He's coming.
What's up, guys?
Hey,
What's going on?
Hey, how you
Hey, man.
Yo, what's up?
How's it going?
We were just talking about like GAC. I love that
I
stuff.
love
Right,
Gak.
it was cool.
GAC, right?
Gak was really
Nickelodeon.
cool.
GAC
Me and Gak.
is awesome.
Love eating that stuff.
We got more movies, Job.
Jumanji.
Wait, what were you,
Jumanji.
Jumanji.
what were you guys
We're talking about
just
GAC,
now?
okay? Shut up.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
That song's not from the 90s. Sing a sad song from the 90s.
I don't wanna wait for our lives to be over. I want to know right now.
Can I add another one in this vein? I can't go this high up. Where have all the cowboys gone? Alright, Jumanji.
Jumanji.
Sean.
Jumanji. I really enjoyed that as a kid. I'm gonna give that a solid 4. I like that one. It was fun.
Jumanji was awesome.
Deej, you can take off your coat if it's hot. Feel free.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe
Yeah,
I
it's a
will.
little,
Maybe I'll
I
take
can't.
the shades
I
off for a
physically
few
can't
minutes,
take these
you
off.
actually can't.
so the guests can see my beautiful eyes.
Oh,
if they
yeah,
want
yeah.
to see
Beautiful
that.
shirt.
Beautiful shirt. Jumanji's definitely like a 5 out of 5 because, I mean, it's freaking Robin Williams, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
Robin Williams.
rest in peace, Robin Williams.
Oh,
Like,
what a blow. What a blow. I'm going to give Jumanji, this might be controversial, But this may be one of the first instances of me being like the book was so much better. Because I remember when I was a kid loving that book by Chris Van Allsburg. And the simplicity of it and the drawings in it. Chris Van Allsburg was a big part of our childhood because he wrote also, Mom would always read this book called Too Bad Ants.
I remember Too Bad Ants.
Yeah, so I remember seeing the movie and being like, oh, I wish it was more like the book. Mm-hmm. But I still, Robin Williams is great, and, let's say 3.5.
Fair.
Alright, now we're getting down to the bottom of the barrel here.
Oh.
Scream.
Oh, Scream.
This is, I have a controversial opinion of Scream. I'm going to give it a 2 out of 5. I actually didn't care for it. I can see how people would like it, and I agree that it's probably a good movie. I don't care for it personally.
I'm in the same boat. I'd maybe be fair and give it like a 3 out of 5. But
now you're making me seem like a dick.
Scream was cool because everyone got the costume when the movie came out. I'm sure you guys lived through that.
Yeah, it's like
sure.
it was an iconic.
There was like
character.
16 kids in my school, probably more than 16 kids in my school that were Scream for Halloween. And I think at my school they wouldn't let us like wear the masks to school, so
Fair
we had to
enough.
like we all wore like the black thing. So it was like, why didn't we just go with something else? Like, we're just wearing this black robe with no mask.
I'm Robe Man.
I was like 6 different things a year for Halloween. I remember because I wanted to be a Mortal Kombat ninja, so I bought like a Mortal Kombat costume. But then all my friends were being Scream, so naturally I wanted to be Scream as well. So I remember buying the costume, but. The movie,
cool. The imagery of it was cool. Yeah.
The movie, classic '90s. It was basically making fun of, I guess, slashers, or it was like paying homage to the slasher movies.
It was like while still being a slasher movie itself.
Right, it still was
kind of picking apart the rules and all that stuff, and I appreciate those aspects of it. I like Nev Campbell and Matthew Lillard, and remember that guy Skeet Ulrich looked exactly like Johnny Depp.
Oh yeah,
he did.
The young guy, right?
Yeah, I remember David Spade making a joke on Saturday Night Live. He's like, Skeet Ulrich, Johnny Depp called. He wants his DNA back. But yeah, I don't. It's very iconic, and but I don't know. I don't love it. I don't think it's. I'd give it. Let's say. I'm getting fancy with decimal points now, but let's say 2.5.
2.5.
And it's directed by the great Wes Craven.
Craven,
So I like Wes Craven. And it was
Craven
before people started using the word meta to describe things like that. I guess it was kind of meta because you were talking about like, or Jamie Kennedy was talking about like the rules of being in a horror movie. But no, it's not one that I go back to. It did feature excellent song. I know Sean will agree with me on this. Red Right Hand by Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds.
Absolutely.
Which DJ, if you don't know it, you might know it if you heard it.
If you heard it, you would definitely be like, oh, that's song.
Yeah, from Let Love In. Awesome album by Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds.
Cannot recommend that album enough.
Scream. It's okay.
Alright. Train Spotter.
Train Spotting. 5. Easy. Great movie. Insane. Just absolutely bonkers. Train Spotting 2 is also very good. Obviously not.
Train Spotting 2 is a lot different, but I feel like it's a very accurate.
If
those characters were still alive, some of them probably wouldn't still be alive. But if they were, this is probably where they would be.
Yeah.
That's another one that is unknown to me.
What do you think?
So,
Out of 5, what do you think? Based on
Trains. It's called Train Spotting.
Train Spotting. Yeah. It's basically about heroin addicts in Scotland in the mid 90s. It is a comedy. It's the blackest of black comedies.
That's not directed by like the same guy who made like Lock, Stock, and
No. Train Spotting was directed by Danny Boyle.
Okay,
so Danny Boyle made 28 Days Later. He made Slumdog Millionaire. What else did he do that was real famous? He's done. I'm sure you've seen a Danny Boyle movie at some point.
Yeah. This is an unfamiliar one to me, but
stars.
It sounds like it's probably a pretty good movie.
Ewan McGregor.
Probably give it a 4 or 3. Yeah. To be fair.
Trainspotting gets a 5 for me. Easy. Absolutely visionary. Disgusting at points. Actually, right off the bat, pretty disgusting. He dives into a toilet. But it's like it's off the walls, wacky. There's some really disturbing stuff in there. There's some hilarious stuff in there. I remember people like thinking that movie glorifies heroin use. You got to be out of your mind to see that
showing
movie.
you what happens.
Yeah, it
when
is
you're-
like.
You remember the scene with the baby? You
Yeah.
think that glorifies anything?
Yeah, I can't. I think if you see that movie and want to do heroin, like,
You got some
You got
problems.
Yes,
problems.
you got
Yeah.
some screws loose.
yeah, no, that movie in no way, shape, or form glorifies
Oh.
heroin use. But that movie, I mean, it was so visionary. It still is. Like you watch it, and it's a wholly unique experience. And I might watch it with the subtitles, though. It's a little difficult
It
It's
is
another
kind
for
of
us
tough to
Yanks
understand.
to
Very
understand.
strong accents.
Yeah, the super strong accent. But Ewan McGregor, one of the best of all time, I think. Ewan McGregor.
I love you.
What about Phantom Menace? That was. Who was in there?
I don't know, man.
I just had to name drop
I saw
Phantom
Phantom Menace once in middle school in the movie theater, and I think I mean the pod racing scene was cool, right?
Phantom Menace was one of the later ones, right? One of
That was the first.
Yeah,
The
that was
one
the
where
first
Darth
of
Vader
the,
was a child, and he was
Oh,
very,
Anakin.
very.
Yeah, you know it.
yeah.
It's the-
Got Darth Maul.
Those
looking all
were-
Darth
badass.
Maul was pretty cool.
Those Star
Yeah,
Wars
Darth Maul's
movies were
right.
iconic, but like, if you listen to critics, they like rip them apart.
It was
Like the
just too
newer
much
ones.
CG. It was too.
It was like, what's going on? Like,
Fans
you know,
too.
what-
I think,
but it wasn't
largely
made.
Fans didn't like it.
Yeah, it was
I'm-
made for that to
I'm
sell
a massive Star Wars
toys.
fan.
Oh yeah,
hated
absolutely.
that movie.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But the
All
next
right.
two feature main characters in trench coats.
Okay.
All right, what do we got?
The Crow.
Oh, Crow.
The Crow.
I'm gonna have to give that 5. I love that one
Love
as a
The
kid.
Crow, man.
Brandon Lee, rest in peace. Man, what a movie.
Oh, way to go, huh?
Dude.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, The Crow, 5 out of 5. Like, it's so badass. I actually want to be the Crow for Halloween. This
You'd make a
coming
good
up.
Crow.
I would.
Yeah, you
Gotta get a
Like
wig though.
that
Yeah.
type of
Yeah.
plot and character for me, the person I am, like that just speaks like that is perfect for me and everything that I like. Like it is just this cool friggin' dude. He dies, he gets brought back. He's got this cool paint. He looks like Sting from WC. Actually,
That's what
Yeah.
Sting came off of him.
reminded me of-
Yeah, Sting got the paint from
He
that
used to
movie.
be called the Crow before he became Sting.
Yes. And
Really?
I'm like,
Cool.
just so cool, man. What a cool movie. He's fighting all these like demonic Satanist people.
You know, it's funny. I never
Just
made that
kicking their
connection,
ass.
but I always liked Sting very much, and I was like,
Oh,
now that I
yeah.
hear that
Yeah.
makes sense. I'm like, oh, I probably equate him with the Crow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember anything about The Crow.
Really?
I think maybe I watched it once when I was a kid, and I feel like I've been meaning to watch it again for the past 10 years.
You're gonna watch it. It's
I will
it's on there.
Check it out.
I
again.
think it is my type of movie. I think I would like it.
Yeah, I think you know.
And I remember the soundtrack when I was younger.
Great soundtrack.
Oh.
Right, it had
Got
a
it.
lot of Nine Inch Nails.
Nine Inch Nails.
I'll tell you the exact soundtrack because I got it right
Do you
here.
have Pantera? Was Pantera on there?
Pantera
Helmet.
was.
It might have.
No. Wait.
Nine Inch Nails covering Joy Division actually, which was probably my first
Here's the
experience with
soundtrack
Joy
right here.
Division.
Burn by The Cure.
Mm.
Machines of Loving Grace with Golgotha Tenement Blues. Stone Temple Pilots. Big Empty.
Big Empty, great song. One of the best Stone Temple Pilots songs.
Joy
Yeah.
Division being covered by Nine Inch Nails. Dead Souls.
Great song.
Rage Against the Machine. Darkness. Violent Femmes. Color Me Once.
Oh, great song, great band. I love the Violent Femmes.
Rollins Band with Ghost Rider.
Hell yeah.
See,
Henry
James,
Rollins,
like-
my favorite, one of my favorite guys.
Yeah.
Helmet with Milk Toast.
Right.
Pantera the Badge.
I knew it.
For Love Not Lisa. Slipslide Melting. My Life with the Thrill Kill Cult. After the Flesh.
The industrial band, right?
Jesus and Mary Chain.
Oh,
Snake Driver.
I love Jesus and Mary Chain. One of my favorites.
Awesome, man.
Medicine with Time Baby 3. And Jane Siberry with It Can't Rain All the Time.
Mm. We're talking soundtracks. Can we
Soundtrack.
give a shout out to a not good movie that had a great song on its soundtrack? Godzilla, '96. I want to say
With Matthew Broderick.
with Matthew Broderick.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Matthew
pretty
Broderick, that was
stupid
Ferris
movie.
Bueller's Day
Yeah,
Off.
oh,
He
yeah.
goes and Godzilla
Ferris Bueller's
appears.
gotta fight Godzilla.
Yeah.
So the
Hey
sound.
Cameron, let's borrow your dad's car. Godzilla's in town. Let's go see what we could do with him.
The
Yeah.
soundtrack had, it's famous for having the Jimmy Page, Puff Daddy collaboration, Come With Me, which is pretty stupid. But one of the best, I think one of the best Rage Against the Machine songs, No Shelter, which isn't on any of
No
their
Shelter's a
albums,
really
for
good
some reason just thrown out on the Godzilla soundtrack. Like, no joke, one of their best songs happens to be on the Godzilla soundtrack for some
That's
reason. Anyway, we got one more movie?
So bizarre.
Two more.
Two more.
One
okay.
more with Trench Coat.
Okay.
The Matrix.
All right.
That's a-
Matrix.
Easy, another 5 out of 5. Such a crazy, like, amazing movie. I remember at the time seeing it and just you've never seen anything like it. It was one of a kind.
No. Another Rage song on the soundtrack.
Yeah.
Wake
Another good
Up.
one.
That's from their first album though, but still good song.
Still a good one.
Oh yes.
I absolutely love The Matrix. It's one of my favorite movies, actually. Pre-John Wick. So, this is John Wick before John Wick. This is Neo. Dude, like, this dude's for real.
It's like a proto John Wick.
What a pioneering movie. Like, this movie just pioneered so many movies ahead of it. And the action scenes, like, it's classic. Like, everybody was mimicking it when he dodges the bullets and they go over his head.
Very iconic. Yeah.
Me and my friend would fast forward all the way to the scene when they go into that warehouse or whatever it was, and they check the guns. They're doing the metal detector, and he just opens his jacket and he's got all these guns. And they're just like, and he just starts shooting. That scene is amazing, and another good soundtrack too. Like
Yeah,
you were saying.
yeah,
Fantastic
for sure.
soundtrack.
Some cool songs in there.
I'd probably give it a 5 too. I remember seeing commercials and stuff with the bullets, and I remember not having a lot of interest in seeing it. But then for some reason sitting down and watching it and being like, whoa, first off, this is not what I thought it would be. Second off, the concept behind it, that everything you know to be reality isn't,
That was so cool.
really blew my mind. Like, really was like, wow, this is something else. And so I really enjoyed the experience so much watching that movie that I didn't touch any of the other movies. I thought, I don't want to sell you this experience.
You never saw them?
No.
I didn't either.
Good for,
Animatrix.
good for you.
I didn't either.
Good for you. The Animatrix was alright, but the second and the third,
Yeah, Revolutions and.
And I think I remember
Reloaded.
seeing the commercial and then hearing reviews and stuff and being like, actually, Tarantino, he's coming up a lot in this episode, did a list of his favorite films since 1994 or 1992 or something like that, his favorite films since becoming a filmmaker. And he put The Matrix on there, but with the caveat that, like, it probably would have been higher on the list if not for the sequels. So, yeah, I don't think I ever need to see them because the first one was just so good.
First one does enough.
Yeah.
Titanic.
Titanic.
Titanic. That was different for everybody.
I mean, I think I enjoyed it. I'm gonna give it a 3, I guess. I mean, I probably got pretty bored. I was young when I saw it. I think it's a good movie, right? I don't really remember.
I just watched the second tape. Like, where the ship's sinking, that's the only part I watched.
And this is all personal opinion, also. So
Yeah.
This is
This is
what
not, our reviews are not
No.
in no way, shape, or form the definitive statements on these films.
To quote Steve Harvey, "Why'd you make this long ass dry movie? We don't know what's gonna happen. Bring on the water. What you gonna make a movie 3 hours for?" Steve Harvey said that in one of his comedy
great.
shows. But
great.
Titanic, I always thought Titanic was a great movie. My family loves the Titanic. We used to watch it. Like, my family would come over, my aunts and uncles. I'll give Titanic a 4 out of 5. Leonardo DiCaprio did a great job, and Kate Winslet.
And then
They
let's
both
not
did a great
forget,
job.
lest we forget, Billy Zane.
Billy Zane, Titanic.
Right.
Kathy Bates
Kathy Bates,
was
absolutely.
awesome in that
She is.
movie.
Kathy Bates is awesome.
Just think of the characters.
No
like,
matter what, Kathy Bates is eternal. She's great.
She was the widow of a rich guy, and the guy died. She got all his money, but she always was like the humble,
Yeah.
modest one, and she was the one who like gets Jack, and remember she gives him the suit. And
Yeah, trying to teach him how to be
Dress him
fancy.
up.
I remember
Yeah.
him, he's like confused by all the utensils and you just start from the outside, work your way in.
Your way in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would agree with DJ on that one. I think I'd give Titanic a 4. I remember Mom taking us to the theater and seeing it, and I remember thinking, like, really good movie, really good story, directed by James Cameron, who made,
Yeah.
say it with me, boys, one of the greatest movies of the 90s, if not all time, Terminator 2,
Terminator 2.
right, Judgment Day.
Dude.
It's classic.
Yeah, Terminator 2 is,
Each close your boots and more.
That's a sequel that I think
yeah.
was
Yeah,
better than
was
the
better than
original.
the
I'm gonna
The
agree with
original
you.
was
I'm
also
gonna
very
agree with
good,
you.
though.
Original's
Very
good.
good.
Original's a different.
Very
Original's
different,
almost
very
a,
different.
almost
It is
a horror movie. Yeah.
Yeah, because he was going.
Yeah.
He was the bad guy.
But Terminator 2 just takes it to a different level, and I mean, so iconic. I remember watching home videos of me and you, and we got Terminator posters all over our wall. We're obsessed. There's a video of Sean and I no joke, making Terminator 3. Before it came out, we were in the backyard. It was called Terminator 3, Return of the T-1000.
Wow.
And, mostly it was just us shooting guns at each other.
Yeah.
But still, like, we had enough presence of mind to be like, we want more Terminators.
Probably would have been a better Terminator 3 than the
Right?
actual
Yeah,
Terminator 3 we got.
I think we did great,
Rise of the
man.
Machines. Like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I watched that movie and I can honestly tell you I don't remember a thing about it.
I never even
I don't
watched it.
remember.
There was the female
I
Terminator.
I remember that. I remember. Did he put on goofy glasses at one point with like stars on them? And you're like, he's dumb. He doesn't know those are stupid.
Stupid glasses.
It sounds like a thing from that movie.
Yeah, Terminator 2 is awesome. Is that all the movies?